We crossed the room where the two little children's bed in that epic. Children were private possessions. And more rooms. The glimmering of mirrors, gloomy closets, intolerable multicolored sofas, a vast fireplace, and a mahogany bed. The only evidence of our contemporary excellent transparent and internal glass was in their pathetic, fragile, mini quadrilateral windows. And to think these people loved for the sake of it, burning, suffering. Again, her eyelids lowered like blinds. What a ridiculous spendthrift waste of human energy, don't you think? She spoke somehow from within me. She spoke my thoughts, but there was still that annoying X in her smile. There, behind those blinds inside her, something was going on. I don't know what, and it exasperated me. I wanted to quarrel with her, not to scream at her, to be exact. But I had to agree anyway. Not agreeing is not allowed. Then we stopped in front of a mirror. At that moment, I only saw her eyes. An idea came to me. Aren't human beings constructed as haphazardly as these ridiculous apartments? Human heads aren't transparent, and they're only tiny windows the eyes. It was as if she had guessed that I was thinking, and she turned. Well, here are my eyes. So, this of course said without words. Before me were two terrifying dark windows, and within them a very unknown, strange life. I could only see fire. Some kind of inner wood fire was blazing there, and there were figures who looked just like... It was only natural, of course. I had seen a reflection of myself. But in fact, it was so unnatural and unlike me, obviously the depressing effects of the circumstances, that I distinctly felt frightened, felt caught, a captive in this wild cage. I felt myself gripped with the wild whirlwind of ancient life. You know what? I-330 said. Go out into the next room for a minute. I heard her voice come from in there, from within, from the dark windows of her eyes where the wood fire burned. I went out and sat down. From a little shelf on the wall, the snub-nosed, asymmetrical physiognomy of the ancient poet, Pushkin perhaps, was faintly smiling at me. Why on earth am I sitting here and compliantly suffering this smile? And what is the point of all this? What am I here for? What is this ridiculous situation? This irritating, repulsive woman, this strange game? Back in there, the door to the closet banged, silk rustled, and I could barely restrain myself from going in, and though I didn't exactly remember, I probably felt like saying many very harsh things. But she had already come out. She was in short, old-fashioned, bright yellow dress, a black hat, black stockings. The dress was made of light silk, and I could clearly see her stockings went very high up, a good deal higher than the knee, and the open neck, the shadow between. Listen, you, clearly. Want to be original. Don't tell me that you, clearly, I-330 interrupted. To be original means somehow to stand out from others. Consequently, being original is to violate equality, and that which is the idiot language of the ancients was called being banal, I think. For us just means doing your duty, because yes, exactly, I burst out. And one has no business in. She walked up to the statue of the stub-nosed poet, hanging the blinds of her eyes over those wood fires. There within, behind her window, she said, in what seemed to be total seriousness, this time perhaps to mollify me, a very reasonable thing. Don't you find it surprising that once upon a time people put up with the likes of him, and didn't just push up with him, but adored him? What slavish spirit, don't you think? Clearly, that is to say, I meant that damned clearly again. Well, yes, I understand, but it's likely in essence this was a case of masters becoming more powerful than the rulers. Why didn't they isolate them and destroy them in our world? Yes, in our world, I began, and suddenly she burst out laughing. I could see this laughter with my eyes, a ringing, severe, stubbornly supple, like a whip, crooked line of this laughter. I remember I was shaking all over. Now I wanted to grab her. I don't remember anymore what I wanted to do, but I had to do something. It didn't matter what. I mechanically opened my golden badge, glancing at the time, It was 10 minutes to 1700. Don't you think it's time, I said with much politeness as I could muster. And what if I ask you to stay here with me? Listen, you. Are you aware what you are saying? In 10 minutes, I'm obliged to be in the auditorium, and all ciphers are obliged to go through this prescribed course of art and sciences, I 330 said, mimicking my voice. Then she raised the blinds. She lifted her eyes. The wood fire burned through the dark windows. I know a doctor in the Bureau of Medicine. I am registered to him, and if I ask him, he will give you a certificate that says you are sick. Well, I understood. I finally understood where this game was going. What are you saying? Do you know? Page 28. Make sure this is important, I think. I am obliged in theory to report you immediately to the Bureau of Guardians.
Did you have to
Guardians.
leave?